It's always a great time when our next guests join us. They have a brand new album out called Bread. It is the lovely folks of Sofi Tukker.
What's up?
Good to see you again.
Oh, so good to see you. You look amazing.
Thank you.
We were just talking about how we just
got out of our
rolled
bunks.
off of the tour bus.
No, seriously, you look great. I mean, especially for all the activity that you're doing. I mean, I say this all the time. Like, you guys are just nonstop hustling and make it look so easy and look good and at the same time. How are things?
I mean, we love what we do. That's really the most important thing.
Yeah.
I feel like
It's harder for us, I think, when we're not like running around playing shows and making music, and it's weirder. I feel better when we're like on the move, honestly.
And now this tour is your biggest so far in your career, which is so amazing. We're in the Bill Graham Civic Auditorium in San Francisco, sold out show. Congrats on that. So many sold out shows. Have you been able to connect still with the fans and the people that have been there since the live streams?
yeah, in many ways, I feel way more connected to people than ever before, in part because like we've been doing our live show instead of our DJ set. And part of it is we arrive to the venue early, as we are now, and we do this VIP meet and eat. And so we sit around a table and we've gotten to talk to a lot of people in every single city. You know, we're sitting down at a table with 20 people and actually getting to sort of break bread and have that moment together has made us feel, it definitely made me feel, I think I can speak for you too,
Yeah.
just so connected to the people who are listening to our music and just in touch with their stories. And it's been really cool.
What has been a story that you can share that has really left an impression on you?
I
Oh
mean,
my God.
there have been so many. I think there's, every show. Yesterday we were in Santa Barbara, and we usually go around the table and everyone says something, and we have them tell us their favorite song from Bread and something about themselves. And usually they, talk about how our music, is basically like how it works and how it works into their life, or how it's helped them in certain ways. And a lot of people, have been sick or injured, or I
had
would say
things
in Red
happen in
Rocks,
their lives,
there's a couple really heart-wrenching ones. I think there's like 25 people at the table in the Red Rocks one, and the first woman stands up and she says, me and my husband, who was sitting next to her, lost our son a few years ago, and our music was the only thing that like really, consistently could help them get through the tough times. And she was just so thankful and grateful, and we're just like, God, so crazy. We make this music for fun. We love doing it. We don't know the impact it necessarily has. So when we get to hear these personal stories, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and then the next woman stood up and she was like, I had cancer, and she was battling through some sort of developed stage of cancer, and that she used the music as a way to just sort of lift her spirits. And then the two of the women looked at each other and they hugged each other and they like became friends right in front of us. And we were just like, this is the coolest thing ever. These really heart-wrenching, very difficult things that happen in these people's lives, we get to be a part of, them making new friends and them kind of getting through it. And that's just the ultimate honor for us.
That has got to be so rewarding and such a trip at the same time, right? Because some of the songs are not really meant to be that deep to say, okay, you're going to get through this hard time.
Yeah.
It's to take you away from those hard times.
Yeah, exactly. Right? But it kind of, it has been really fulfilling, and I think it has also sort of fortified our why, or, made us feel like, okay, what we're doing, it has a purpose beyond ourselves. And I just feel really motivated and really, connected more than anything.
This album definitely has a wide variety of sounds, and it appeals to a wide variety of people that are into bossa nova or Brazilian funk or just straight up electronic. And the guests that you have represent so many different countries and lifestyles as well. How intentional was that?
It was definitely intentional. I think we wanted this album to it was really intentional. I think that's a good word for it. We wanted to bring it back to the sort of roots of what Sofi Tukker was. So it was like how do we, we basically looked at Soft Animals, our first EP, with Drinky and Matadora and Hey Lion and Moon Tattoo. And we were like, what was so special about those songs? And now that we've come this far, 8 years later, when we were making it, probably around 8 years later, how have we gone away from that? What has stayed the core, and like, have we gone too far away from that? What makes Sofi Tukker unique and Sofi Tukker? And I think it was really fun to sort of do that exercise and make this album, because we really went back and like dug into the Brazilian influences. We dug into some jazz music influences, and we spent time in Brazil, a couple months finishing this album. Really inspired by Carnival 2 years ago in Rio. So I feel like we're so proud of this album because it feels so Sofi Tukker. Like, I don't think, and we worked with a lot of people on it, but we were able to keep it so us that that's what I feel so proud of.
Do you think that Wet Tennis was experimental then in that case?
Wet Tennis was Wet Tennis was so specific to the time that we made it. We made it during the pandemic mostly. And so a lot of the music was informed by the live streams. It was informed by us just like being in our house. We weren't necessarily out. We were not out at all, actually. It wasn't made as much with that in mind. But it's not that it was experimental. I think a lot of Wet Tennis really feels like it also hits that pocket of something that is very Sofi Tukker to its core. But there were definitely some songs on Wet Tennis where we took some risks, and I don't know that, risks are necessary in terms of figuring out who you really want to be. And so I don't regret any of it, but there were definitely moments, I think, on making Bread that we took it just a little further and forced ourselves to make it even better in a way that in Wet Tennis, I don't even know if we had the capacity to, because we were like, oh, it's done, But I think in Bread, we were like, wait, no, it's not done. We can make it better, and we can kind of push ourselves to find the Sofi Tukkeriest way to finish this song.
I think experimental is an actually really interesting word for us, because from the beginning, the core of it is experimental. Like, we were basically experimenting with an idea of, can you mix house music with Portuguese poetry and electric guitar, and keeping it raw. And from Drinky, which was the first song we made together, it was like a full experiment. And I think because we don't feel like we fit into a genre, it's kind of always an experiment. Like, making a song using the MC Bola sample, which is like a really famous baile funk song from Brazil, that was an experiment. We went into the studio and we were like, how can we make a song around this, which is like the best melody ever, and such an amazing thing that like is so big in Brazil but not outside of Brazil. It was an experiment to see if we could introduce that to people in the US, basically. And I don't know, I kind of see everything we do as an experiment.
I'm glad you do, because I feel that's what an artist is supposed to do: experiment and evolve and grow. And yeah, you have the core sound, but then,
right.
8 years later, you built on that.
Right. Yeah, and then, like we said, sometimes it goes too far away, but you have to experiment to know where the core is.
Yeah, you're singing more.
I'm definitely singing more,
and which is really fascinating to me, because we've known each other for so long. Everyone has seen your trajectory. And how comfortable do you feel now in your voice?
Definitely more comfortable. I think it's one of those things where the more you do it, the more comfortable you get, like anything. And I really had no experience,
right?
Besides sort of low voice talking, rapping type thing. So it's from the beginning of this tour till now, I would say I walk up to Perfect Someone with a lot different confidence in my voice. And it's kind of a scary thing to do. you kind of feel like you got your pants down up there. You like, you got no.
He literally sometimes does have his
You
pants
can't.
down. Up.
Well, sometimes I have my pants down, but intentionally.
I relate to you. I also have this baritone, lower resonant voice, and whenever I do karaoke, I feel like I'm, being foolish, or I try to mimic Elvis or something.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And it's like I could not even imagine trying to sing an original song.
Yeah, it's weird.
Have you taken vocal
honestly.
lessons from Sofi or
I've
somebody?
been doing vocal warm-ups with Sofi, and I did do a little bit. It wasn't necessarily exactly lessons, but I worked on my vocal when I had some like throat tightening for a bit, and the people I was working with were also vocal teachers, so I've worked on it a little bit. And yeah, I don't know. It's fun. I think, I'm like crooning. It's a little bit of like a,
Yeah.
Tuck Sinatra.
Tuck Sinatra, Tuck Buble.
Are you practicing or rehearsing in the shower, singing Sinatra, or
No.
I don't know who else are some vocalists that have lower voices? The only one that comes to mind is like Elvis, like-
Yeah, well, I mean, the style that he's singing in, it's very jazzy.
Yeah.
It's very croony.
I guess there's not. Yeah,
That's why I was thinking Bublé or Sinatra.
yeah, those are kind of probably the most comparable, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Jamie Cullum.
I'm not going to put myself anywhere near those people, but but maybe, maybe one day if I keep getting more comfortable and keep singing more, maybe I'll be like one of those old singers singing Christmas songs.
I can see
That's
it.
what I'm saying.
Who knows?
I could see it.
I totally could see that. Have you tried? I'm
He has.
dreaming
I've heard it.
Nice.
of a white. Come on.
That's nice.
Christmas.
Nope.
Take it away,
It's
boys.
too early. I just woke up.
Come
Yeah,
on.
your voice is nice and deep
I
in the
just
morning.
woke up. I can't.
That's even better when it's deeper.
That's fun.
So great to see you guys.
Good to see you
Congrats
too.
on the album and best of luck with it.
Thank you. Always good
Have
to
fun
see
in
you.
Europe, by the way.
Thank
You're
you.
going to be hitting the road with Kygo,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is crazy. Again, nonstop, you guys.
Yeah. We're going right up until Christmas, really.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to be great. And it's so cool that we've been doing interviews with you since
The
the
very
very
beginning.
beginning.
Very
One of our
beginning, yeah.
first shows, one of our first festivals ever.
Mm-hmm.
It was Treasure Island out here.
That's right.
I remember kicking it with you guys.
Yeah.
And ever since, we've gotten to see you like every year or so.
Yeah, pretty much.
So nice.
Yeah.
Thanks
and
for
and
always-
it's just amazing that we've been able to grow together and find our voices
Totally.
and all that.
Thanks for always showing up for
Oh,
us.
thank you.
Appreciate it.
Really appreciate it. Sofi Tukker, right here on B-Sides.